Fans of Ash Ketchum have been left feeling disrespected and enraged by a decision that Pokemon just made. Trust me when I say it had a lot of people talking online, so I have a lot to say on the topic, some of which you probably won't expect. First of all, let's talk about what happened exactly. So as you all know, February the 27th, last Friday, was Pokemon Day. It was a celebration commemorating the release of the very first Pokemon games in Japan, Red and Blue, the 30th anniversary of the whole franchise. It was a huge deal with an even huger celebration. But during this event, despite it being a celebration of the entire franchise's history, there was one very important name that wasn't mentioned even a single time. Ash Ketchum. Now let's be real for a second. Our boy Ash isn't just some random old character that got phased out. He is the Pokemon protagonist. And for a massive portion of the fanbase, Ash is Pokemon. He's how so many people got into the franchise in the first place. He's the reason Pikachu became this global icon. He is the reason the anime has ran for nearly 30 years. And that is absolutely huge. Most animes don't even make it to 5 years. Ashy Boy lasted 5 times that. He grew up with multiple generations. Well, maybe not physically in his case, but spiritually, you know? There's so many adults who watched Ash when they were kids, and now they're watching him again with their own children. What I'm trying to say is Ashy Boy is more than just longevity. He is a legacy, he's impact, he's cultural permanence. He's completely ingrained and intertwined in Pokemon's history and success. And despite all of that, in Pokemon's 30th anniversary celebration on Pokemon Day, Ash wasn't acknowledged even once. There was no tribute to Ash, no montage, no references, no images, no mentions, no tiny nods. There was absolutely nothing. And for a character who helped to carry the Pokemon franchise on his back for nearly 3 decades, that silence from Pokemon felt extremely loud, and that's why people are upset. Online, I saw a crazy amount of fans basically saying, how are you not even going to mention the main element of the franchise for the first 26 years when you're celebrating the franchise's 30th anniversary? When Ash and Pikachu, like it or not, are one of the main defining reasons why Pokemon is so huge and lasted all this time. And I think it's made worse because to a lot of fans, not mentioning Ash here doesn't feel so accidental, because to them it feels like ever since Ash retired 3 years ago, Pokemon has kind of been deliberately avoiding him. It does feel like they really don't want to bring him up at all, like they're trying to quietly move forward and pretend that era never happened. The entire franchise hasn't acknowledged Ash in any official manner ever since then, so now ignoring Ash for the 30th anniversary, to those fans, this felt like the peak of that feeling. A big example of this is when you look at the 30th anniversary logo. Instead of Ash's Pikachu, arguably one of the most iconic characters of all time, and definitely Pokemon's mascot, they instead put Captain Pikachu on there from Pokemon Horizons. Now listen, I love Captain Pikachu as much as the next guy, but he really doesn't have the same legacy and impact of Ash's Pikachu. So for some fans, that choice didn't just feel random. It felt like they intentionally wanted to replace Ash's Pikachu as the face of the franchise. And when this is a 30th anniversary celebration, a celebration of everything Pokemon has been for 30 years, it's not that crazy that people expected at least some acknowledgement of the character who played one of the biggest roles in making Pokemon what it is. So yeah, I'm not surprised why all of the social medias were full of, where's Ash? They forgot about Ash. How do you celebrate 30 years without Ash? And I get it, on the surface it does seem kinda bad, but here's where I think we really need to slow it down a bit, because I really don't think this is some grand anti-Ash agenda like so many of Ash's fans do. And I don't think it's even nearly as deep as people are making it out to be, because first of all, this is the Pokemon franchise's 30th anniversary, not the anime's. Pokemon Red and Blue released in 1996, and that's what this celebration is actually about. 30 years of the games, 30 years of the core series, 30 years of the franchise. The Pokemon anime didn't actually begin until 1997, a year later, and that ultimately means next year, 2027, that's the anime's 30th anniversary. And if you think about it like that, it makes a lot more sense. Why would they go huge on celebrating the anime's history and Ash Ketchum during a celebration that's specifically about the franchise's games turning 30? If anything, it would make way more sense to save Ash and celebrate his anime properly next year, because Ash is the Pokemon anime's 30-year legacy. That is when you go hard, that's when you do the big tribute montage, that's when you maybe bring him back for a special or a movie or announce something big, because that's Ash's 30-year anniversary. And also, from Pokemon's perspective, their priority is crystal clear right now. They want Horizons to stand on its own. They want to prove the anime can survive and thrive without relying on Ash or nostalgia. They want Liko and Roy and Dot and Ametheo and Alt and Freed and Captain Pikachu to build their own foundation, to build their own fanbase, to build their own success without relying on everything that came before it. And I really respect that, dude. It's incredibly bold and incredibly risky, but it makes a lot of sense. If every major celebration or moment immediately pivots back to Ash, then Horizons never gets the chance to breathe. It never gets the chance to feel like its own era. And then everyone would just keep saying, see, they still need Ash. The Pokemon anime is nothing without Ash. And I think we can all agree that that would be blatantly untrue and incredibly annoying. So of course in things like the logo, they're going to promote the current anime over a protagonist who retired 3 years ago. And look, I understand the emotion, the frustration. Ash means a lot to a lot of people, he means a lot to me too. But all of this is nothing against Ash as a character, and I feel like a lot of Ash fans are misinterpreting absence as erasure. Ashy Boy being absent right now doesn't mean Pokemon is pretending he never existed, or erasing everything he did for the franchise. All it comes down to is that he's just not in the focus right now, and that's okay. But what I will say is that if 2027 rolls around and Ash's anime turns 30, and they still don't acknowledge him in any way, shape or form, then yeah, we're gonna have a very different conversation next year. Because that would genuinely suck, dude. Even if they don't want to bring him back for the 30th anniversary of his anime, at least celebrate his history and his legacy, you know? But right now, at the moment, I think we just need to let Horizons breathe. Let Pokemon build its new foundation, and trust that when it's actually the anime's milestone moment next year, then Ash will get his. Also, even if Pokemon themselves didn't acknowledge Ash last week, you can still find celebrations of his legacy through the cast and the community. For example, it's been amazing watching Veronica Taylor, Ash's original voice actor, celebrating 30 years of Pokemon and Ash's legacy through several interviews recently. I really recommend checking them out, it's such a joy, such a pleasure, and she's one of the greatest people of all time. But finally though, let's talk about the bigger thing that no one is really mentioning. Yeah, our boy Ash didn't get mentioned on Pokemon Day, but neither did Pokemon Horizons, bruh. The current anime. There was one very brief image of Liko and Roy and that was it. There was no Horizons segment, no new trailers or announcements, no promotion, nothing was said at all about Horizons. The bigger question for me isn't why didn't they mention Ash, it's why didn't they promote the anime at all? And that's so weird to me. After all, if millions of Pokemon fans are watching the announcements, then why not take the opportunity to fully promote your currently airing series? It doesn't have to be the anime's anniversary to show off your current series and get people interested. They had a prime opportunity and they wasted it. So yeah, let me know what you think about this entire topic below. Did you want to see Ashy Boy mentioned on Pokemon Day, or does it not really bother you? Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Finally, thank you all so much to the absolutely ridiculous amount of channel members on screen right now. It low-key scares me how many of you there are, and I know your names are probably only appearing for half a second each, but this is the best I could do. And of course, the Ferlax fam and Ferlax fanatics like Toten, Juscadia, Not Mini, Hope, Shareborn J, Finny, Pugasan, Shiny, you guys are legends. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!